Yeah. 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 Well, it seems like one of the fans are just stopping mid. Like you hear the ch 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 ch. All right, do you want to do Bio Project first or oh, for some reason the YouTube's not working, but we'd always just download it.
So we're walking through the Gospel of Luke, and we've reached the end of Jesus' long road trip to Jerusalem. He's arrived.
So he rides a donkey down the Mount of Olives towards the city, and all these crowds are forming, and people are singing, "Praise the King who comes in the name of the Lord." They're laying down their cloaks in front of him.
Why all this royal treatment?
Okay, so Israel's ancient prophets promised that one day God himself would arrive and rescue his people and rule the world. Other times, the prophet spoke about a coming king who would ride into Jerusalem to bring justice and peace.
So Jesus is activating all these hopes that he's that king, and everyone's ecstatic.
Well, not everybody. The religious leaders, they think Jesus is a threat to their power, and so they're not happy. But even more striking, Jesus himself is distraught. He's actually weeping as he rides.
Yeah, why?
Well, Jesus can see what is coming. He knows that he won't be accepted as Israel's king, and he knows that Israel will keep going down a destructive path, neglecting the poor, stirring up rebellion against their Roman oppressors, and he knows that it will lead to death. It breaks his heart.
And it riles him up. The first thing he does in Jerusalem is march into the temple courts, and he drives out the money changers, disrupting the entire sacrificial system.
Yeah, he's staging a prophetic protest, and he stands in the center of the courtyard, shouting out words from Israel's ancient prophets. This is supposed to be a place of worship, but you've made it a den of rebels.
A den of rebels?
Yeah, he's quoting from the prophet Jeremiah, who stood in this same spot, the center of Israel's religious and political power. And he offered the same critique of Israel's leaders, that they're rebellious and corrupt.
And they get the message and start to plan to have him killed.
Which is no surprise to Jesus. In fact, he planned that all of this would happen during Passover.
This is the Holy Week when Jewish people celebrate their ancient story of how God liberated them from slavery and invited them into a covenant relationship.
And so Jesus uses the symbols of Passover to reveal the meaning of his coming death. The broken bread was his broken body, and the wine was his blood that would establish a new covenant relationship between God and Israel. Jesus was going to die for his people and open up a new way forward.
After the meal, Jesus takes his disciples to a garden to pray.
And he struggles with the very human desire to save his life instead of sacrificing it, but he overcomes this temptation.
And it's here where the religious leaders, with the temple guards, find him and arrest him.
Now, Jerusalem was being ruled by the Roman Empire, and so the temple leaders couldn't execute Jesus without permission from their Roman governor, a man named Pontius Pilate. And so they make up this charge that Jesus is a rebel king stirring up revolution against the Roman emperor.
Pilate asks Jesus, "Are you the king of the Jews?"
And Jesus answers, "You say so."
So Pilate can see that Jesus is an innocent man and he doesn't deserve death.
But the leaders keep insisting that he is dangerous, so they negotiate a compromise. Pilate will release an actual rebel against Rome, a man named Barabbas, instead of Jesus. And so the innocent is handed over in the place of the guilty.
Jesus is taken away with two other accused criminals and nailed to a Roman execution device. And people are mocking him. Hey, if you're the Messianic king, save yourself and us.
But Jesus loved his enemies to the very end, offering hope to one of the criminals dying beside him. And he even prayed for his executors. "Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing."
And then the sky darkened as an innocent man died the death of a rebel.
And then Jesus cried out with ancient words from Israel's Psalms, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." And then Jesus died, innocent and alone.
Mm. All right. Take away, my friend. Do I have any takeaways? I am so thankful because it's very easy because we see like them hailing. And, when I grew up, I just of course they see him hailing, Hosanna, Hosanna, Son of David, have mercy on us. And remember what Hosanna means? Save us, yes. And so there, the mob is ready for political revolution. But yet the peace they want, I mean not the peace, but the victory they want is through war and conflict and absolutely bashing the heads of the Romans. And here Jesus, he's crying because he knows that the religious leaders are not going to accept him, so they're not going to accept the way of peace where Jesus answers the ultimate sin and death. And so here you have also, here's the temple, and repeating like the actions of Jeremiah, like the den of thieves. He's saying pretty much judgment is happening on this temple. And so they do everything in their power to then have him go to death as literally charge him as what he is, a Mashiach. But then put lies that he is trying to instigate rebels, and because that's what they're expecting. They're expecting it is mind baffling that someone who's claiming to be king doesn't oust the current opposition. And so that's what they use to get him killed. And we're thankful for this. We're thankful for King Jesus, who still stayed the path of peace. All right. Let's read. All right. So read about Hagar. They took Hagar. All right. The complications of surrogacy. She got pregnant, and when she saw that she was pregnant, her mistress was belittled in her eyes. Sarah said to Abram, "The violence done to me is your fault. I myself put my maidservant in your arms. She sees that she is pregnant, and I am belittled in her eyes. May Yahweh decide between you and me." Abram said to Sarah, "Well, your servant is in your power. Do to her what is good in your eyes." Oh, Tov in your eyes. Just like the Garden of Eden. So Sarah ill-treated her, and she ran away from her. But Yahweh's aid found her by a spring of water in the wilderness, the spring on the road to Shur. We thank you, King Jesus, as we read the commentary of how what generally we find Tov, the means and operation we use to seize our power, to seize the destruction of the other, when we declare whole groups as raw, as bad, and whatever things we mock at we laugh at their destruction. As United States citizens, I see this all the time when we characterize people group, when we characterize people. We absolutely vilify a whole group of people, and whatever evil befalls them, we laugh and mock at them. But thank you, King Jesus, that you're always operating, stepping near, giving the way of peace. You always keep on drawing near when we don't want to. Thank you for being the God who is not just held by whatever we decide is good, for a God to decide what's good. Your ways are beyond our ways. And we declare allegiance so that your ways becomes our ways, because when your ways become our ways, we become more human. I need you. I want to be human like you are, Jesus. I'm okay to let the flesh rip off me like the flesh rip off of you. I'm okay for separation from whoever and declaring allegiance to you and walking the conscious steps of dying for the other. Even when family decides to separate themselves from me. Amen. Establishing whether a couple's problem in having children lies in the man or the woman involves stressful process of medical investigation. One woman who had gone through such procedures told me her husband had a 0 sperm count. I was amazed for several reasons. One was the freedom with which people in the United States share the details of their medical issues. Too much information, a Brit is inclined to think. Another was the bravery involved in coming to terms with a fact like that about oneself. Another was the stress it could place on the marriage. Whether the problem lies in the woman or the man, it must either drive a couple closer together or drive them apart. One hears about the complications that can follow when a woman gets another woman to bear her baby for her. To whom will the baby really belong? Can you just rent a womb as you rent a room? Once she gives birth and suckles, would she really be able to surrender the baby? For Sarah and Hagar, there follows a sequence of such complications. Sarah had expressed the hope that she might be built up through Hagar. The baby will count as hers. Many women who cannot have children, not all such women, feel they are not quite complete. Men can feel the same. An aspect of the way they are created finds no expression. That sense may come from inside themselves and or may reflect stereotypes in society. And there are also practical considerations about who will look after us in our old age. So Sarah's image about being built up is a telling one. Further, there is a similarity in the word for build up and the word for son, a similarity the Old Testament sometimes makes use of. Sarah hopes to be sunned up. What actually happens is that she is put down, not built up. Hagar is the second-class wife, but she has the functioning womb, which rather makes her first class. She is in the position to look down on Sarah. The words are again chilling. God had promised to curse anyone who belittles Abraham. Is Hagar risking God's curse? Yet there is some ambiguity about the she and her in verse 4b, like the ambiguity about the he and him in Genesis 15:6. Does Hagar see that she herself is pregnant so that Sarah is belittled in Hagar's eyes? Or does Sarah see that Hagar is pregnant so that Sarah is belittled in her own eyes? So it's even in the wording. There is reasons for confusion in the wording. It's to show yes. You see Sarah, maybe Hagar, who knows? Like the confusion's all there, but you're going to see Hagar reacting in violence. One can imagine both might be true. Sarah goes on to make clear that in her view, the problem is she is belittled in Hagar's eyes. But if that were the entirety of the problem, would Sarah react so strongly? After all, she still has a senior status. Hagar, however, has the functioning womb. God has opened Hagar's womb even while keeping Sarah shut. It was in her own eyes as much as anyone else that Sarah needed building up. But Hagar's pregnancy pulls her down. It is as if she has had violence done to her. She feels violated, we might say. Hagar has done violation to the proper order of the family, not by sleeping with Abraham, but by dishonoring the mistress of the house, even if she is now also a wife. There are two other occasions when Genesis uses the word violence. In Genesis 6, it is part of the description of the world as full of violence, which drives God to decide to destroy it. In Genesis 49, it will describe two people who had killed every man in the city of Shechem. Sarah uses a very strong word when she talks about violence. There is no doubt she feels seriously violated, quite belittled. This is what a colleague of mine used to call pain talking. Poor old Abraham gets the blame for it. The violence done to me is your fault. Excuse me? Whose idea was this? Before Abraham has a chance to point this out, Sarah does it herself. I put myself, my maidservant, in your arms. She goes on to express the hope that God may get involved in what has happened. God's deciding between them, of course, does not mean Sarah view it as an open question of who is in the right. She wants God to decide in her favor and vindicate her, to declare that she is in the right. What good would that do? But again, this is pain talking. What is Abraham to do? Abraham is a hero on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and a wimp on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Today, it is Tuesday. Caught between two women in his life, he throws up his hand and points out that Sarah is Hagar's boss. It's her problem. She has the authority to deal with it. So Sarah ill-treats Hagar. We don't know how she did that. Maybe she made her work excessively hard. Maybe she beat her. But ill-treat is the word Genesis 15 has just used to describe what the Egyptians will do to the Israelites. So it's just crazy how it does this in the narrative. So where did they get Hagar? Where did they get Hagar? Do you remember where they get her as a servant? They get her from Egypt. So Hagar is, and her name means foreigner. So here's a foreigner from Egypt. And then here, Yahweh told Abraham what's going to happen is his descendants are going to be mistreated by the Egyptians. But then after 400 years, they will get. So that same word mistreated is actually what's going to is what Sarah just did to Hagar, the Egyptian foreigner. Exodus 1 will use it when that comes about. Before the Egyptians ill-treated the Israelites' foremother has done this to an Egyptian. The noun related to this verb refers to a weak person, a person without status, a person who can be ill-treated with impunity. It reoccurs in the Old Testament. Deuteronomy 24, for instance, bids Israel not to abuse such a person, and specifically not to abuse foreigners like Hagar, who are in this position. Hagar does what she perhaps did once before, what servants often do. She runs away. Setting off in the direction of Shur meant setting off towards Egypt, setting off for her home country. Maybe she has his destination in mind. Though Genesis does not quite say so, it was unlikely to solve Hagar's problem in the long run. Egypt, like other Middle Eastern countries, apart from Israel, had regulations about returning servants who ran away from their masters. Maybe Hagar hadn't worked out where she was going. She just knew she had to get away from Sarah. But God's aid found her there. The word for an aid is usually translated angel, but that gives a misleading impression. It is the ordinary word for a representative, messenger, or envoy. It can also refer to a prophet as God's representative, messenger, envoy. Angels are like presidential aides, sent off to do things for the president. They have presidential power in doing so and represent the president in a strong sense. If you have talked to the presidential aide, you have talked to the president. So if one of God's aid comes to see you, it is quite like God in person coming to see you, though less scary. If God sends an aid to find you, it is quite like God coming to find you. All right. We talked a lot during it, so let's look at this quick highlight. And so it says Yahweh's aid found her, which shows that it's like the people who work besides the president. So when you talk to them, you're also talking to the president. And so now here is the Yahweh's aid working with Hagar. All right, friend, we can start. And I'll be back. I found time for God. Mm. Something great. Oh, it just straight up robs their health. That's cool. Yeah, Suku? No, I'm fine.
Get out of that force. Out there.
Yeah, that's fine.
If you want that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm totally switching to this.
Dad, your knee.
Oh, Bailey, my health is topped off.
Dad. You hurt?
Oh yeah. But I have a lot of fire protection. The lava doesn't do too much damage to me.
Dad, make it. Go back in.
Where are you, Piggy? There you are.
Dad,
Yeah?
go to the pool party I just made over there in that water.
Oh, right now, Days. Sure, Day will look at it.
Try to make it.
Oh, almost hit me in the water. That's cool. Nice little pool party. All right, hey Suikyu, do you have things that mommy has communicated that you should do? Well, I'm going to break this and get the blood sword. Be my main. I mean, I have all these trophies. I'm not. It's more about the trophies. Hey. Of this stuff has the iron durability that you're complaining about. Who? Oh, I have my maintenance charms. I need to get rid of those. Yep, this thing will break fast. Let's break this puppy. Oh, hey, David. Welcome back.
Hello?
Welcome back.
Yeah. Alright.
All right.
So,
So,
what's the current dealio over here?
so I am actually like the vampire blade is really good, and so
Alright.
I'm breaking my Valkyrie lance to put that on. I can't find the charm, but the Nasa, I won't mind just making it myself. How did you make the I know how to enchant it with selfish, but how do you make the? Is it like a contrition charm, like with selfish?
Yeah, it was just a selfish contingency charm. Yeah, with some contingency that would automatically fire off. In that case, it was one that yeah, that would just warp you back onto the magma pit.
Yeah.
You would never charge back up.
I
But
just couldn't find it, so I was just like, I was gonna make myself. So I'm guessing you put light injury because light injury, the opposite of light injury is when you're full health, and so it just kept on procking. Is that what?
actually, it was just I believe it was actually that particular one might have been light injury,
Okay.
but yeah, um, oh actually no, I took advantage of the contrarian trigger on light injury. So the contrarian trigger is made by just combining any trigger with a redstone torch, and it will trigger whatever that one would not have triggered.
Okay. Oh, I see. I see. So when it's supposed to trigger on light injury, so 60% health or 80% health, whatever. Since it's not triggering, it thusly is triggering.
Yes.
Okay.
So so a contrarian light trigger would trigger whenever you have 80% or higher health. Yeah, conversely, a contrarian injury trigger would trigger at anything above 20%, since normally it's below 20%.
Yeah.
You could also do something like some contrarian status effect, and then apply stop all their status effect.
All right.
So, just like for example, you could do a status trigger made using a speed potion, just as an example. Invert that, and so it will trigger whenever you don't have speed.
Okay.
And then you could have its effect be something utterly unproductive, like I don't know, instant health.
Yeah. All right. So, all right, to make this work, first
No.
I'll make a injury trigger.
Though I will warn that even doing that kind of setup,
Mm-hmm.
most reactors have some condition baked in that that they won't trigger if that condition's already been met. For example, some potion reactors won't trigger if you already have the potion status effect.
Mm.
Or rather, potion reactors won't.
So yeah. So now I put, if I heard right, I take this injury trigger and I need to make a redstone torch and just shove a redstone torch on it.
Yep, because when you're doing stuff with redstone, torches are what you use to invert the signal.
Ah. Redstone. All right, there's a contraction. So now, if I put selfish on this, would it automatically just start triggering, or do I need to put need to put some sort of reactor inside? Like it has to have a reactor.
Charms will not do it. A contingency charm will not do anything until the trigger and reactor is put together.
Okay.
And once you put them together, you probably don't want to take them apart. The latest version of passive charms, does support disassembling them and keeping the enchantment on the reactor.
It's like,
but I don't know if we're on that version.
It's like every time I kept on like Justin will close the door on me, and so then I right click to open, and then I accidentally dismantled the charm
because you had the charm in your hand.
Yeah. And I'm like, every time I always at the very end for some whatever silly reason, I dismantle it. So
Yeah, I don't know if if the server is on the version that keeps the enchantment on the reactor or not.
okay, yeah, the enchant. I don't know. Maybe it is on there, but I don't want to test it because that requires.
I mean, we could just update the server real fast. It wouldn't take long.
That's a good call. Just us. All right. Well, let me know when you're out. All right. And then I should just close it, right? It's pretty quick on saving.
Um, ideally, you want to just, I believe it's the command is stop. Just put that into the server command line, and it should stop the server
To
and
stop?
shut down proper. Like, I believe the command is stop.
Oh, maybe it's supposed to be lowercase? 'Cause I do know that the commands are case sensitive.
Possibly. If that doesn't work, try exit.
Oh, yep. It was case sensitive.
Mhm.
Oh my Lanta. And here I am loading the server back on.
Oops.
I have a head injury. I have an excuse now for my silliest moments. All right. All right, so that's fully updated. Open folder. Well, we're just updating the server. You don't have to do anything when you get on char, but copy mods. I'm just going to close you. I'll delete the old mod folder. All right. I'm sorry, Alpha Kenny Boy. I'm a beta. I can't handle your strungness going in the chat right now.
All right. Yeah, it looks like passive charms is the only mod that needs an update. Yeah, we should be on 1.5.2.
Let me check here. And we're looking at passive charms 1.5.2. Yep. All right. I'm in. All right. Contrition. All right. Okay, so I did an injury. So since injury won't be, you know what? I'll just do the classic warp reactor. I'm okay with that. Because that doesn't have a previous. So there is my ender pearls and gold, if I remember right. Warp reactor, yep. Gone are the days where I have to make 5 million warp reactors. What's up, reverse maker? Boop, boop, boop. There we go. Mandu. So have you defeated a gold altar? Oh,
Gold dungeon? Yes.
oh. Did I
Hmm?
break it? Huh.
What?
I think. What the? Where? Huh. So the warp reactor took me at 0, 0, 0.
Ah, because you never said it?
I guess I'm used to just when you assemble it, that's where it sets.
Ah. No, it was changed to require right-clicking. The tooltip says as much.
Oh, okay. Well,
Makes it more controllable.
makes sense. Good thing I wasn't. Good thing it didn't send me to the oblivion, which means instant death and means goodbye, good stuff.
Oh, I suppose you still have your actual contingency on you?
No, it just took me right into bedrock, and so I just mined. Not bedrock, but it just took me to 0, 0, 0, and so I just mined. It like literally poured me into rock.
I was asking if you still have your actual when severely injured.
Yeah, I do have that. Yeah. Oh, does.
All right. No, they don't interfere with each other. It was basically just asking, hey, so if you had been shunted into the void, would you still have had an escape route?
Ah. Guess mine myself out of here. That was fun. So have you, I don't know if I felt like I asked, or I don't know. Have you done the gold it's
Gold
like an
dungeon?
gold
Yes.
dungeon. Okay. So we don't need to do that for you.
Yeah, I had done it like way off in the cut several thousand blocks out.
Yeah. I think actually Justin, I think we found that one when we were exploring, because we found one, went in like, oh, this one's been looted before.
Oh, so you guys had to wander pretty far afield then.
Yeah.
I thought that 8,000 blocks was far enough that it'd be safe. Oh well.
Oh man. That's not fun.
Oh,
Well, I have all my fire resistance stuff on, and where it teleported me, it's currently raining.
that's not ideal. No.
All right, I'm gonna try to do something. Not going to do anything, but I want to explore. Would it hurt me if I'm invisible? Does the rain see me? Oh, the rain still sees me. Okay.
Rain does not rely on sight. It uses indiscriminate AoEs.
Right, well, I guess I'll just. I'm sorry. Sorry, your Hawkeye isn't spawning. My shoulder is here for you to cry on when your time raid boss is not showing up.
Okay, bro. It's not even funny. Look at Roger. He's like just getting beat up, bro.
Right.
Roger just got comboed, bro.
my blocks don't
Oh no, I just
fall up?
By the way, I had fun with the boat on the path yesterday. That was quite an experience.
Yes. Apparently, that path produces more speed. They can be easily handled.
Been mean to go down and get gold anyways, so we get not gold but diamond.
Oh no. Ah.
I want to put universal on my pickaxe, but that will. It's just going to be easier just to put universal on a pickaxe and then just. Instead of trying to break it. All right. F3. As long as I. Okay, what level is this? -24. So -40 is the right. What you prefer when you're searching for a diamond, right?
Thereabouts, yeah.
Yeah. Well, even if you had the Conqueror Hockey, it would only work against weak level mooks, because anyone who has a strong hockey in One Piece, it doesn't work on, I guess you could say, boss types.
Basically, only people who are much lower level than you would be subjugated by it.
Oh, okay, so that's 40. All right, now let's make my way home.
Oh. Ace.
Can't tell.
Worst drop again.
Mm.
Still need to test my new fallback mechanism. I think that's it. Yeah, that's enough eggs that I don't need to worry too much about the details.
Oh.
Oh. Well, that's moderately frustrating to have discovered.
Hmm.
A crossbow that had been missing for a very long time. And so I'd been using a fallback alternative as my airline solution.
Yeah.
Apparently I had mistakenly put it into my valuables chest. I just hadn't noticed it for a very long time.
That's funny. That sounds like something I'll do.
Anyways,
He's an honorary member of the Silly Goose Club.
for For the sake of science, I am now going to throw myself off a cliff.
Can you just yell science when you do it?
No. Using the crossbow of airline 3 is too likely to actually see me land before it goes wrong. So let's switch back over to the crossbow of merely airline 1. Alright. Well, for science!
Yes.
Yes, this should be high enough into the sky. 200 block fall, what do you think?
That will be. Just don't be wearing my armor, because my armor completely negates fall damage.
Well,
Oop. He plopped.
it didn't work.
Was it the free fall contingency or something?
No. In an attempt to move away from Batet, I enchanted my equipment in a funny way.
Mm-hmm.
In an attempt to use the last gasp enchantment as a way to rebound my health just enough that that I would still be snapped back home after taking lethal damage. Yeah, and then I'd be able to just whack a chicken that's in my teleportation room in order to trigger the recovery aspect of last gasp.
So
It didn't work.
something to test out. I thought I saw blood debts on my Valkyrie sets when I got hit one time. Unless sometimes it does show blood debt just in vanilla.
Were you hit by something wielding a Batet weapon? That can also
That's a
inflict blood debt.
possibility. I was testing out the blood sword in the nether. Yeah, so and they frequently carry Batet weapons, so that's there we go. Yep, okay. So I probably should just put like a warp reactor. As I am now just learning from my mistake, was probably a bad call. I should probably put like a healing potion reactor or something. Not regeneration one. I think regeneration might have that effect you're talking about.
But regeneration doesn't last very long at all. But no, warp's a pretty good one. You just need to remember to set its position. But even if you've already enchanted it, it should be safe for you to go ahead and disassemble now.
Oh,
since we've updated the latest version.
It's already been disassembled.
Okay.
I was like trying to figure out what the heck happened when I'm at 000.
So I suppose since that triggered as soon as you put it together, it wouldn't have had an opportunity to have been enchanted before you got
No.
sent away.
Can I do I have to enchant it when it's together, or can I just enchant the charm?
Okay, so with the new update, the enchantment will move between the contingency charm and the reactor.
Okay.
Yeah, as appropriate.
Okay.
So if you enchant the reactor and then assemble it, the enchantment will end up on the resulting charm.
Okay. So I can enchant.
If you disassemble the charm, the reactor will retain the enchantment.
Okay. So I can enchant one of those individual pieces now, though. That's just what I'm hearing.
The reactor specifically.
Okay.
Yeah, the trigger does not do this. So why did that fail?
Hi, Broheim. In 19 minutes, we gotta call it, okay? It's pretty sad to be forced underground without something to. Actually, I have sticks. I could have been keeping my eyes out for coal. But then I'll have to manually place torches. Ew.
Oh no.
The darkness charm just makes you feel like manually putting torches is
Low class, I see.
inferior form of a living.
I shall continue engaging in questionable science until I understand exactly where my failures accumulate. Okay, well, it doesn't look like it's any of my contingencies going off. Which admittedly is part of the problem. The injury trigger is failing to do its job. But I think that's because I'm rebounding.
17. Or we're going over to until 2:30. So you just hit refresh, and it looks like it's updated, so you're good. Yep.
Also less gas 3, which apparently is too good. I need it to be worse!
Mm-hmm.
How convenient.
Happy I didn't.
That one is worse. Need to do a little bit of murder to get myself, I think it was 13 levels? Actually, that's a few enough levels. I could probably get that just by breeding cows. Well, welcome back to the server, Charlie. Is that Charlie that I heard get online?
He's there. He just needs a. You're literally your. Look on your soundboard, Broheim. That's actually. Oh, okay. Oh yeah. I see. I mean, like, since you
See?
hear him through the speaker, you could just mute. You just need to have microphones. Oh, yeah. You have us both
yeah,
muted. Yeah.
Okay, I think I heard Charlie, but if I did, he was very quiet, so...
Yeah,
Shut up.
there you go. Go up to that level. You need good as long as you talk directly into the microphone.
Ah. Commit a little pulvinicide is all. Yep. Alright, now I've got those levels so I can make that book of yet a lesser last gasp. You know you're indulging in unnecessarily awkward shenanigans. When you're getting to the point where you want to have protection enchantments of specific levels.
I mean, that just shows you've truly min-maxed your experience. It's like me whining now on the airline level 2 bow.
Understandable.
Ah, I'm up.
Yeah, you know what? Got enough flaming metal that I can go ahead and just got enough fiery blood that I can just go ahead and make a new pair of boots. Turns out to be a mistake. I could just disenchant them and then toss the still good fiery boots into the armory. All right. Yeah, now I wear my new, slightly worse shoes. Time to launch myself into the heavens. Gravity.
Why can't we?
Uh-oh. Okay. I definitely didn't. So why didn't that trigger? Definitely shoulda. Only had like 4 hearts of health out of 20. Most peculiar. Cross-mod interactions result in funny stuff. But I suppose worst comes to it, if this trick isn't functioning, I'll just have to resort to another.
I torch. So from what I heard from Justin, is there's really no way. Like even though it says only compatible with Cascade and Miser, there's no way to show like it's not compatible with the current host.
I do not have a way for it to show if it's compatible with you versus an old version of you right now. No.
Okay. By the way, I was had this idea that Valkyrie organs can have like each organ like leaves a stack of pride where so like you don't register how much damage you take, and so like using health and saturation, but they have higher stats, but the cost is you don't register when you take damage for like X amount of time. So all of a sudden it's a little different than Blood Debt where it does a dot, but all of a sudden you could be hit with like 4 hearts of damage.
All right.
Yeah, I no longer have that charm on, so.
Right. Well, that's.
Put my armor. Actually, we need my armor.
Ooh, that's the. Okay, I'm actually ending up with too much of my health left. Well. Ah, well.
I got time.
Oh, well. Oh, science complete.
You answered all your questions?
Yes. And the conclusion is moderate disappointment, but so it goes. Though it has prompted me to probably want to make a slight adjustment to this enchantment in the future. Admittedly, a slight nerf, because it looks like I'm applying modifiers in the wrong order, which is resulting in values not quite shaking out the way I'd want them to. Just subtle enough, it's not super obvious.
That was loud. One of the people who is joining for celebrating Aiden Friday just asked what was enshrouded. So I was quickly getting the Steam link and sharing it with him. Okay, when am I here? I'm here for Selfish. That's right. There's actually a really funny little skit in VeggieTales. And every time I see the word selfish, it just makes me think of that.
Which skit?
Oh, I'll share it with you. If if I say selfish and it doesn't trigger in your brain. When you at the moment I put "you're so selfish," you don't automatically populate what I'm finding.
So we want.
Well, I'm not. I'm literally just finding it to share. Oh yeah, the Englishman who went up the hill. All right, if you can find. I found the wiki for it. If you can find the little clip, 'cause right now, I think my ad blockers and like blockers are not letting me see it right now. But you're not very bright. Yeah. There you go. All right. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, I got the book right there. I have enough experience to attach it to the warp reactor. Have all my things I don't want to break not in my inventory. Make sure I have the sword I want to break in my hands. All right, then let's. Oh. And selfish doesn't go after things in my inventory. It goes for things equipped and in my hand, right?
Correct. Yeah. Hands and armor, and that's it. It also will not break items. It'll only get them to the edge.
Yeah. Huh? Yummy. I mean, oh, that's cake. It's so funny. It's because I was asking Aiden what snacks he'll like for his celebration. He told me, you know what? I don't really think about this, but I like all things cheese, like Pringles, Goldfish. And then I look over, and even though you're smacking cake, I just read that, and so what came out of my mouth was cheese. That's how that happened.
So once more, the harvest is complete.
All right, Broheim. Time for us to go. It's time to duel. All right. Love you, David. I'll catch you when we're back.
Catch you in a bit.
Yeah? Nice. I see.